with them.
Lamp with no oil. Got a whip with no gas. Read.
But the wise took oil in their vessels with their lamps. While the bridegroom tarried, they all slumbered and slept.
So not just 5 of them, but all of them slumbered and slept. Read.
And at midnight there was a cry made, Behold, the bridegroom come, go you out to meet him. Then all those virgins arose and trimmed their lamps. And the foolish said unto the wise, Give us of your oil.
Do what?
Give us of your oil.
Give us of your oil. Wait a minute. I don't got enough for you. If I give you mine, then I'm gonna run out. Read.
For our lamps are gone out. But the wise answered, saying, Not so, lest there be not enough for us and you. But go you rather to them that sell.
But do what?
Go you rather to them that sell.
That sell. What's that thing you always talk about that the people gonna be doing in the end times? Buying and selling. Read.
But go you rather to them that sell and buy for yourselves.
And do what?
And buy for yourselves.
And buy for yourselves. Read.
And while they went to buy, the bridegroom came.
So while they out buying and selling, the bridegroom came. He showed up. Read.
And they that were ready went in with him to the marriage.
They did what?
They that were ready went in with him to the marriage.
They went in with him to the marriage. Read.
And the door was shut.
Oh, they done. They are done. He said that door is shut. That's a terrible thing right there. Again, try to put yourself in their predicament. That door closing. And you know you missed it. Wow. But Cole, how does this go with Sodom and Gomorrah? This doesn't. Oh my goodness. Amos chapter 3. Amos chapter 3. Verse 7. But we know y'all don't do anything shocking or surprising, right? It's only shocking and surprising to the people who don't watch and they ain't paying attention, right? Amos chapter 3 verse 7.
Amos chapter 3 at verse 7. Surely Yahuwah Elohim will do nothing, but he reveal his secret unto his servants the prophets.
He do what?
He reveal his secrets unto his servants the prophets.
So again, he don't this stuff don't just sneak up on you and get you without you not knowing. You know what I'm saying? Even hurricanes and things of this nature. Even if the quote unquote heart made it, right? They still come on the news and give you a warning. You know what I'm saying? The hurricane is coming, it's going over the Bahamas and it's moving in. If you're in this path, you need to take cover and get out the way, right? But a lot of people say we're gonna ride it out. We're gonna surf on them. We know when the waves come, the rad dude's gonna surf on it, right? Okay, that's not taking heed. So again, even if quote unquote heart made it, it's a warning that's given to you. Even when the tornado comes, they say it's the perfect weather popping off right now. We got the cold air and the hot air coming together and just cause tornadoes. It's always a warning to these things. So nobody ain't gonna be off guard because if you're watching, you're gonna know. 2 Peter chapter 2, verse 5. Yeah, yep, 2 and 5. Matter of fact, pick it up at verse 4.
2 Peter chapter 2 at verse 4. For if Elohim spared not the Malachim that sinned, but cast them down to the grave, and delivered them into chains of darkness, to be reserved unto judgment, and spared not the old world, but saved Noah, the eighth person, a preacher of righteousness, bringing in the flood upon the world of the ungodly.
Bringing in what?
The flood upon the world of the ungodly.
Bringing in the flood upon the world of the ungodly, right? It didn't get the righteous people though, right? Read.
And turning the cities of Sodom and Gomorrah into ashes.
Doing what?
Turn the cities of Sodom and Gomorrah into ashes.
Turning the cities of Sodom and Gomorrah into ashes. So we see that these two events are linked right here. Read.
Condemned them with an overthrow, making them an example unto those that after should live ungodly.
So right there, he just tied these two events to each other. All right? Sodom and Gomorrah and the flood. So we know that Noah warned these people, right? For a long period of time. Noah warned all these people that destruction was coming. Just like he says, he don't just destroy, always a warning to the people. It's up to you to take heed. Genesis 18 and verse 20. Genesis 18 and verse 20.
Bereshit, or Genesis chapter 18 at verse 20. And Yahuwah said, because the cry of Sodom and Gomorrah is great, and because their sin is very grievous, I will go down now and see whether they have done altogether according to the cry of it. And if not, I don't know. And the men turned their faces from thence and went toward Sodom. But Abraham for Yahuwah. And Abraham drew near and said, will you also destroy the righteous with the wicked?
So he asked him a question. Will you also destroy the righteous with the wicked? So if you take heed and you destroy with the wicked, he just showed us this in the verse in P.
Perhaps there be 50 righteous within the city. Will you also destroy and not spare the place for the 50 righteous that are therein?
So he don't destroy the righteous and the wicked. Always separate them. Read.
That be far from you to do after this manner, to slay the righteous with the wicked, and that the rich. Verse 25. That be far from you to do, to slay the righteous with the wicked, that the righteous should be as the wicked. That be far from you. Shall not the judge of all the earth do right? If I find in Sodom 50 righteous within the city, then I will spare all the place for their sake.
So if I can find 50 out of all of these, but it's the cities around it, if I can find 50 people, all of this, I won't destroy it. So imagine if he said this about Detroit. He would have said, if I can find 50 righteous people in Detroit, I won't destroy it. Do y'all think you can get it?
It ain't even 50 people in this room.
So he said, I can find 50. I won't do it. I'll spare it. Read on.
And Abraham answered and said, behold now, I have taken upon me to speak unto Yahuwah, which am but dust and ashes. Perhaps there shall lack 5 of the 50 righteous. Will you destroy all the city?
So we know that Abraham got to be actually going out to search for him, right? Because the people got to get the warning, right? So he got to be going out and, trying to search for the righteous. Read.
And he said, if I find there 40 and 5, I will not destroy it.
See that? I'll reason with you. Go ahead and get him. Go get the 45. I won't tear this place apart. I won't burn it down. Read.
And he spake unto him yet again and said, perhaps there shall be 40 found there.
You just keep going down. I'll reason with you, just like he told you in Isaiah. I'll reason with you. Go ahead.
And he said, I will not do it for 40's sake. And he said unto him, oh, let not Yahuwah be angry, and I will speak. Perhaps there shall be 30 found there.
Let me just keep easing it down. Is he already seeing?
You're trying to work.
Hey, it ain't nobody. I
Everybody's
can't
trying to
find
bargain.
nobody. Read on.
And he said, I will not do it if I find 30 there. And he said, behold, now I have taken upon me to speak unto Yahuwah. Perhaps there shall be 20 found there. And he said, I will not destroy it for 20's sake. And he said, oh, let not Yahuwah be angry, and I will speak yet but this once. Peradventure 10 shall be found there.
He done got it all the way down to 10. All the way down to 10 people. Let me ask y'all something. Is Sodom and Gomorrah still there? In its right place like it used to be? No. That means it wasn't 10 there. That means it wasn't 10 people out of all them cities. It wasn't 10 people that was there. Now, when the flood took place, what was the first commandment that the Most High ever gave? What is it?
Be fruitful and multiply.
Be fruitful and multiply, right? So people was living to be almost 1,000 years old back then. So imagine how many children people was having back then, right? Or how many people it actually was back then. So the first commandment is to be fruitful and multiply. People is living to be 900 and plus years old. So imagine how many children was back there. How many people made it through the flood? That's to speak volumes. 8 people made it through the flood, right? 3 people made it out of Sodom and Gomorrah. So guess what's going to take place at the end? Because he declares the end from what? The beginning. So I want y'all to keep this stuff in mind. Luke chapter 17, verse 26.
Luke chapter 17 at verse 26. And as it was in the days of Noah.
In what days?
As it was in the days of Noah.
Go ahead.
So shall it be in the days of the Son of Man. They did eat, they drank, they married wives, they were given in marriage until the day that Noah entered into the ark, and the flood came and destroyed them all.
Came and did what?
Destroyed them all.
Came and destroyed them all. So even worse than the flood by itself, these things are going to be combined along with the other prophecies that's going on. Read.
Likewise, also as it was in the days of Lot.
Now we give you the rest. Likewise, as it was in what?
The days of Lot.
Go ahead.
They did eat, they drank, they bought, They sowed.
What was the 5 virgins going out to do? The foolish ones? Read on.
They planted. They built it. But the same day that Lot went out of Sodom, it rained fire and brimstone from Shamaim.
That mean they was going about their everyday life, and all of a sudden, fire started falling on them. They ain't have no clue at all. Just one day, fire just falling out the sky because you wasn't looking for it. 2 Peter. One moment. Second Peter chapter 2, verse 1.
2 Peter chapter 2 at verse 1. But there were false prophets also among the people, even as there shall be false teachers among you, who privately shall bring in damnable heresies, even denying Mashiach that bought them, and bring upon themselves swift destruction.
What kind of destruction?
Swift destruction.
Because it came on them suddenly. They had no clue that it was even coming. Read.
And many shall follow their pernicious ways, by reason of whom the way of truth shall be evil spoken of.
Go ahead.
And through covetousness shall they...
What does covetous mean? Exactly. Read on.
And through covetousness shall they with vain words make merchandise of you.
Make do what?
Make merchandise of you.
Back to the buying and selling. Read.
Whose judgment now of a long time linger not, and their damnation slumber not. For if Elohim spared not the Malakim that sinned, but cast them down to the grave, and delivered them into chains of darkness, to be reserved unto judgment, and spared not the old world, but saved Noah, the 8th person, a preacher of righteousness, bringing in the flood upon the world of the ungodly, and turning the cities of Sodom and Gomorrah into ashes, condemned them with an overthrow, making them an example unto those that after should live ungodly.
Making an example. Go ahead.
And delivered just Lot, vexed with the filthy conversation of the wicked.
So just Lot. So Lot was in the city. I want y'all to hold on to this as well. Lot was in the city. It says that he was vexed being around this stuff, right? That's why it says you're in it, but not of it. Lot is the perfect example. He was in the midst of all this madness that was going on, but he didn't participate in it. Read.
For that righteous man dwelling among them, in seeing and hearing, vexed his righteous soul.
Vexed his righteous soul. So Lot is amongst all of this madness. His soul is vexed because he around it daily. All right, keep that in mind. All right, let's go to Genesis chapter 18 and verse 1.
Bereshit, chapter 18 at verse 1. And Yahuwah appeared unto him in the plains of Mamre, and he sat in the tent door at the heat of the day. And he lifted up his eyes and looked, and lo, 3 men stood by him. And when he saw them, he ran to meet them from the tent door and bowed himself towards the ground.
So it says 3 men appeared to him, right? Hold on to that. 3 men. Deuteronomy chapter 19 and verse 15.
Deuteronomy or Devarim, chapter 19 at verse 15. One witness shall not rise up against a man for any iniquity.
He says, one witness shall not arise, read,
or for any sin, in any sin that he sinned, at the mouth of two or three. At the mouth of two witnesses or at the mouth of three witnesses shall the matter be established.
So it's got to be 2 or 3 witnesses. How many men just showed up in chapter 18? 3, right? Okay. Genesis 19:1.
Bereshit, chapter 19 at verse 1. And there came 2 Malachim to Sodom at evening.
How many came?
2 Malachim to Sodom at evening.
2 came. Now we know the third one was Yah, right? So right here we got 2 Malachims coming. Finish that verse out.
And Lot sat in the gate of Sodom. And Lot, seeing them, rose up to meet them, and he bowed himself with his face towards the ground.
All right. So does Yah destroy the righteous with the wicked? No, he don't do that, right? Always a separation that takes place. Give me Matthew chapter 25, verse 32.
Matthew chapter 25 and verse 32. And before him shall be gathered all nations, and he shall separate them one from another.
He shall do what?
Separate them one from another.
There we go. We got that separation happening. He shall separate them one from another. Read.
As a shepherd divide his sheep from the goats. And he shall set the sheep on his right hand, but the goats on his left. Then shall the king say unto them on his right hand, Come you, increased of my father, inherit the kingdom prepared for you from the foundation of the world.
All right, so right here we got that separation happening, right? In Genesis chapter 19, it was 2 Malachims that done this, right? Let's go back. Matthew chapter 24, verse 29.
Matthew chapter 24, verse 29. Immediately after the tribulation of those days shall the sun be darkened, and the moon shall not give her light, and the stars shall fall from Shamaim, and the powers of the Shamaim shall be shaken. And then shall appear the sign of the Son of Man in Shamaim, and then shall all the tribes of the earth mourn, and they shall see the Son of Man coming in the clouds of Shamaim with power and great esteem. And he shall send his Malachim with a great sound of a trumpet, and they shall gather together his elect from the 4 winds.
What the angels gonna do?
Gather the elect from the 4 winds, from one end of Shamaim.
So what was them angels going to Sodom to do? Gather the elect, right? To make that separation, right? Read.
And he shall send his Malachim with a great sound of a trumpet, and they shall gather together his elect from the 4 winds, from one end of Shamaim to the other.
All right, here we got them gathering and separating. Psalms 91, verse 9.
Psalms 91 at verse 9. Because you have made Yahuwah, which is my refuge, even the Most High, your habitation. There shall no evil befall you.
Because the righteous gonna be separated from the wicked. Read.
There shall no evil befall you, neither shall any plague come near your dwelling. For he shall give his Malachim charge over you, to keep you in all your ways.
So again, it's showing you that when this time come, the Malachim's gonna make these separations. But you got to know which one is the false and which one is the real, right? So he's showing us this all through the book, so we'll be ready for it. But in Genesis 18, how many people appeared to him? 3, right? Revelation chapter 14. Revelation 14 and verse 6.
Revelation chapter 14 at verse 6. And I saw another Malachim fly in the midst of Shamaim, having the everlasting gospel to preach unto them that dwell on the earth, and to every nation and kindred and tongue and people.
He letting you know it ain't gonna be no excuse, because you're gonna get your warning, right? You're gonna get your warning. Ain't nobody gonna be able to say I didn't know. Read.
Saying with a loud voice, fear Elohim and give esteem to him, for the hour of his judgment is come.
Make Yah your refuge. Read.
And worship him that made Shamaim and earth and the sea and the fountains of the waters.
So we got one angel. Read.
And there followed another Malachim.
2 angels. Read.
Saying, Babylon is fallen, that great city, because she made all nations drink of the wine of the wrath of her fornication.
I want y'all to keep this in mind. It says she made all nations drink of the wine. Keep it in mind, please. Underline it or something. Read.
And the third Malachim followed them.
What Malachim?
The third Malachim followed them.
3 of them showed up, right? In Genesis 18. Now we have 3 right here. Read.
And the third Malachim followed them, saying with a loud voice, if any man worship the beast,
letting you know, don't do it. Read.
And his image, and receive his mark in his forehead or in his hand, the same shall drink of the wine of the wrath of Elohim.
Revelations 11 and 7.
Revelation chapter 11 at verse 7. And
matter of fact, pick it up at verse 3.
Revelation chapter 11 at verse 3.
Now, Genesis 19, it was 2, right? Read.
And I will give power unto my 2 witnesses.
Because he said everything got to be established by 2 or 3 witnesses, right? Read on.
And they shall prophesy 1,260 days.
Giving you a nice time. Read.
Clothed in sackcloth. These are the 2 olive trees and the 2 candlesticks standing before Elohim of the earth. And if any man will hurt them, fire proceed out of their mouth and devour their enemies. And if any man will hurt them, he must in this manner be killed.
So now we have the 3 angels. Now we have the 2 witnesses, right? Now see how this thing kind of bounce back and forth? All right. So let's go back to the beginning. Genesis chapter 6. So now we're going to see how these 2 stories parallel each other and what's going on. Genesis chapter 6 and verse 5.
Genesis or Bereshit chapter 6 at verse 5. And Elohim saw that the wickedness of man was great in the earth. He
said that the wickedness was what?
Was great in the earth.
It was great in the earth, right? When y'all look around now, is the wickedness great in the earth? Okay, read.
And that every imagination.
He said every, not some, every imagination. Read.
every imagination of the thoughts of his heart was only evil continually.
Continuously, right? I mean, it don't stop. Everything you think is wicked. So the idiot box is pushing forward for everything to be evil. Your every thought is controlled to be evil. Jump down to verse 11.
Verse 11. The earth also was corrupt before Elohim, and the earth was filled with violence.
The earth was what?
Filled with violence.
Earth was filled with violence. You put on a Facebook now got the thing where you play one video, and even if you don't want us, another one gonna pop up, right? Make you watch it. So one video they got some girls fighting, right? And they acting a fool. Soon as that one go off, the next one gonna come up. And they gonna be fighting and acting a fool, right? So is the earth filled with violence right now? Filled with violence. All right. So right here he says that in verse 5, he says, he saw that the wickedness of man was great and the earth was filled with violence. Let's see. Can we see the same thing with Sodom and Gomorrah? Genesis chapter 13 and verse 13.
Bereshit chapter 13 at verse 13. But the men of Sodom were wicked and sinners before Yahuwah exceedingly.
Wait a minute. Read that again.
But the men of Sodom were wicked and sinners before Yahuwah exceedingly.
He said in Genesis chapter 6, it said that the wickedness was great. Over here he says, but the men of Sodom were wicked sinners before Yahuwah exceedingly. So every time I see this term in the book, I'm amazed at this, right? Because he will say something like, and Mashiach's garment was exceeding white. His garment is whiter than white. Hard to fathom, right? I can kind of picture this like you pick the whitest thing up and put a light behind it, right? I can kind of see this. But then he will say something like, and the trumpet was exceeding loud. So what's louder than loud? Right? And then he says that these men were exceeding wicked. What's past wicked? Turn that thing off, boy. So these people, wickedness exceeds wickedness. Again, what is this? What do we call this? He said they exceedingly wicked. I think we see exceeding wickedness now. So now we got the wickedness right here. Genesis 19 and 9. Because these people also got to be very violent.
Bereshit chapter 19 at verse 9. And they said, stand back. And they said again, this one fellow came in to sojourn, and he will need be a judge. Now will we deal worse with you than with them. And they pressed sore upon the man, even Lot, and came near to break the door.
They do what?
Came near to break the door.
These men sound like they was what? Violent, right? So both got the wickedness and both got violence, extreme violence going on, right? Keep it in mind. Genesis chapter 6 and verse 9. So since it's super duper wicked, filled with violence, this is what has to take place. Genesis chapter 6 and verse 9.
Bereshit chapter 6 and verse 9. These are the generations of Noah. Noah was a just man.
He was a what man?
A just man.
He was a just man. Read.
And perfect, in his generations.
So in the midst of all of this madness, we got a righteous man here, right? All right. Hold up. We coming right back here. Genesis 18. Verse 22.
Bereshit chapter 18 at verse 22. And the men turned their faces from thence and went toward Sodom. But Abraham stood yet before Yahuwah.
So we know that Abraham was what kind of man?
Right.
Righteous man, right? Read.
And Abraham drew near and said, will you also destroy the righteous with the wicked?
So again, in the midst of all the madness, we got a little bit of righteousness in there. And because the little bit of righteousness is there, he won't just destroy it. The righteous got to be separated out of it. All right, go back. Genesis 6. Pick it up at verse 13.
Genesis 6 and 13.
Matter of fact, pick it up at 12.
Verse 12. And Elohim looked upon the earth, and behold, it was corrupt. For all flesh had corrupted his way upon the earth.
How much flesh?
All flesh had corrupted his way upon the earth.
Go ahead.
And Elohim said unto Noah, the end of all flesh is come.
The what?
The end of all flesh is come.
The end of all flesh is come. Wow. Jump down to verse 17.
Verse 17. And behold, I, even I, do bring a flood of waters upon the earth to destroy all flesh, wherein the breath of life from under the Shamaim, and everything that is in the earth shall die.
Everything that's in the earth shall die. Genesis 19, pick it up at verse 12.
Bereshit, chapter 19 at verse 12. And the man said unto Lot, have you there any besides? Son-in-law, your sons, your daughters, whatsoever you have in the city, bring them out of this place. For we will destroy this place because of the cry that is waxing great before the face of Yahuwah.
So, just like in the flood, all life is about to end in these places, right? For we will destroy this place because the cry of them is waxing great before the face of Yahuwah, and Yahuwah have sent us to do what? Destroy it. Same thing popping off. Genesis chapter 7, pick it up at verse 11.
Bereshit chapter 7 and verse 11. In the 600th year of Noah's life, in the 2nd month, the 17th day of the month, the same day were all the foundations of the great deep broken up. And the windows of Shamaim were open.
So we got the water coming from below and coming from above, right? So he says, in the 600th year of Noah's life, in the 2nd month, 17th day of the month, the same day were all the fountains of the great deep broken up, and the windows of Shamaim were open. Read.
And the rain was upon the earth 40 days and 40 nights. And the selfsame day entered Noah and Shem and Ham and Japheth, the sons of Noah, and Noah's wife, and the 3 wives of his sons with them, into the ark.
Into what?
Into the ark.
Into the ark. Verse 16.
Verse 16. And they that went in male and female of all flesh, as Elohim had commanded him, and Yahuwah shut him in.
He did what?
Shut him in.
He did what?
Shut him in.
He shut him in. Now, let's try to be in Noah's shoes for a minute, right? you know, and you've been trying to preach to your people for a long period of time, right? And it seemed like little Johnny been getting it, right? Because he be calling me up on the phone sometime, man. I think little Johnny about to get it, bro. Right? I think he gonna get it. Him and his wife seem like they really interested. You know, they came to class a couple of times, right? So if Noah look out that window and he see little Johnny and them out there, what you think Noah do? Try to open that door, right? But y'all said, I shut the door and no man can open, right?
You have little strength.
You have little strength. This is why you can't let Noah do it. Because again, just think of us. Everybody that Noah knows in his life is out there. Besides the 7 people that's in there with him, everybody that he's ever known in his life is about to die. So think about that for a minute, because we used to be reading this stuff, and yeah, you know, 8 of them were saved, but we ain't thinking about everybody he's known his whole life is about to die a terrible death, right? The worst, the drown. That's my greatest fear, right? It's to drown. So that's why I want you to think about it in that way.
You're running up to the ark. Trav, open up, man.
Exactly. You know I've been listening, man. You know that's why we've been coming to class. I just ain't been making it.
They telling you this stuff, and they crying out to you. You know what I'm saying? But you can't open the door.
Because he can't open the door because the time has passed. The time has already passed for you to get in. This is deep. That's why he said, I close it and I open it. You can't do it because that time is up. Little Johnny, if he really was going to get it, he'll be in here. He'll be in here right now. Genesis 19. Verse 14.
Bereshit chapter 19 at verse 14. And Lot went out and spake unto his sons-in-law, which married his daughters, and said, Up, get you out of this place.
Do what?
Get you out of this place.
Up, get you out of this place. Leave. Read.
For Yahuwah will destroy this city. But he seen this one that mocked unto his sons-in-law.
He seen this one that mocked. Go ahead.
And when the morning arose, the Malachim hastened Lot, saying, Arise, take your wife and your 2 daughters which are here, lest you be consumed in the iniquity of the city. And while he lingered, the men laid hold upon his hand, upon the hand of his wife, and upon the hand of his 2 daughters, and Yahuwah being merciful unto him, and they brought him forth and set him without the city.
Matter of fact, jump back to verse 9.
Verse 9. And they said, Stand back. And they said again, This one fellow came in to sojourn, and he will need be a judge. Now will we deal worse with you than with them. And they pressed sore upon the man, even Lot, and came near to break the door. But the men put forth their hand and pulled Lot into the house to them, and shut to the door.
And did what?
And shut to the door.
So right there, that door is shut. All them people outside is finished. Remember, Abraham already done went and tried to warn you to do right, to seek out the righteous. So right here, we got another door shut, right? All right. Go back to verse 16 again.
Verse 16. And while he lingered, the men laid hold upon his hand, and upon the hand of his wife, and upon the hand of his 2 daughters, and Yahuwah being merciful unto him. And they brought him forth and set him without the city. And it came to pass, when they had brought them forth abroad, that he said, escape for your life.
Do what?
Escape for your life.
So Noah and them is in the ark. They've already escaped it and saved their lives. Read.
Escape for your life. Look not behind you.
Do what?
Look not behind you.
Look not behind you. Can we think of somewhere else that somebody didn't look back, didn't look backwards? We'll see in a minute. Yeah, that's the same story. We'll see in a minute. Read.
Look not behind you, neither stay you in all the plain. Escape to the mountain, lest you be consumed.
Escape where?
To the mountain, lest you be consumed.
Escape to the mountain, unless you be consumed. Read.
And Lot said unto them, oh, not so, my master. Behold, your servant hath found grace in your sight.
What did Noah find?
Grace.
Read on.
And you have magnified your mercy, which you have showed me in saving my life. And I cannot escape to the mountain, lest some evil take me, and I die. Behold, now this city is near to flee unto, and it is a little one. Oh, let me escape there. Is it not a little one? And my soul shall live. And he said unto him, see, I have accepted you concerning this thing also, and I will not overthrow this city for the which you have spoken. Haste you, escape there, for I cannot do anything till you be come there. Therefore, the name of that city was called Zoar. The sun was risen upon the earth when Lot entered into Zoar.
So soon as Lot entered into Zoar, read.
Then Yahuwah rained upon Sodom and Gomorrah.
He did what?
Rained upon Sodom and Gomorrah.
What happened with the flood?
Rained,
right? Read on.
Then Yahuwah rained upon Sodom and Gomorrah brimstone and fire from Yahuwah out of Shamayim.
Out of Shamayim. But in Noah's time, where did the water come from? But this just says just rain fire, right? Let's see something. Genesis 14. Genesis 14 and 10. It's got to match.
Genesis 14:10. And the vale of Sodom was full of slime pits.
It was full of what?
Slime pits.
We went over this slime pits a little bit last week. What are these slime pits? Oil, right? Oil is highly flammable, right? So just like the flood came from the bottom and it came from the top. So the same substance, because when you put tar on the side of your house or on your roof, it make the roof what? Waterproof, right? But if fire get it, what happened to it? Burn. It ain't no escape. Ain't no escape. So the same substance that you thought when they built the Tower of Babel that you thought was going to save you, it's the same substance that's going to burn you up. Right? Read that verse 10 again.
And the vale of Sodom was full of slime pits. And the kings of Sodom and Gomorrah fled and fell there. And they that remained fled to the mountain.
So right here we got the slime pits, which is oil. If you go into the words, Genesis 7 and 17.
Bereshit chapter 7 and verse 17. And the flood was 40 days upon the earth, and the waters increased and bare up the ark, and it was lift up above the earth.
It was what?
It was lift up above the earth.
It was lifted up above the earth. Read.
And the waters prevailed and were increased greatly upon the earth. And the ark went upon the face of the earth. and the waters prevailed exceedingly upon the earth. And all the high hills that were under the whole Shamaim were covered. 15 cubits upward did the waters prevail, and the mountains were covered. And all flesh died.
All what?
All flesh died.
All flesh died. Read.
That moved upon the earth, both of fowl and of cattle, and of beast, and of every creeping thing that creep upon the earth, and every man, all in whose nostrils was the breath of life, of all that was in the dry land died.
All that was in the dry land died. Hold that. Genesis 19. Pick it up at verse 24.
Genesis chapter 19 at verse 24. Then Yahuwah rained upon Sodom and upon Gomorrah brimstone and fire from Yahuwah out of Shamaim. And he overthrew those cities and all the plain and all the inhabitants of the city and all that which grew upon the ground. But his wife looked back from behind him.
So he overthrew those cities and all the plains and all the inhabitants of the cities and that which grew upon the ground. Everything died. Read.
But his wife looked back from behind him, and she became a pillar of salt. And Abraham got up early in the morning to the place where he stood before Yahuwah, and he looked toward Sodom and Gomorrah and toward all the land of the plain. And behold, and lo, the smoke of the country went up as the smoke of a furnace.
Went up as the smoke of a furnace. Genesis 8 and verse 1.
Genesis chapter 8 at verse 1. And Elohim remembered Noah.
He did what?
And Elohim remembered Noah.
He remembered Noah. Read.
And every living thing and all the cattle that was with him in the ark.
So he remembered them. Genesis 19 and verse 29.
Genesis 19:29. And it came to pass when Elohim destroyed the cities of the plain that Elohim remembered Abraham.
He did what?
Remembered Abraham.
Same thing. He remembered Noah, and now he remembered Abraham. Read.
And sent Lot out of the midst of the overthrow, when he overthrew the cities in which Lot dwelt.
Okay. Genesis 8 and 4.
Bereshit 8 and 4. And the ark rested in the 7th month, on the 17th day of the month, upon the mountains of Ararat.
And upon the what?
The mountains of Ararat.
So, according to this, where is Noah and them at? In what? In a mountain, right? Genesis 19 and 30.
Genesis chapter 19, verse 30. And Lot went up out of Zoar and dwelt in the mountain.
He did where?
And dwelt in the mountain.
So now we got Noah in a mountain and Lot and his daughters in a mountain. Where does Yah dwell? In a mountain, right? Let's see. Give me Exodus 3 and 1. Declaring the end from the beginning. Exodus 3 and 1.
Exodus or Shemot chapter 3 and verse 1. Now Moses kept the flock of Jethro, his father-in-law, the priest of Midian, and he led the flock to the backside of the desert and came to the mountain of Elohim.
Came where?
To the mountain of Elohim.
To the mountain of Elohim. Ezekiel 28:14.
Ezekiel chapter 28, verse 14. You art the anointed cherub that covered, and I have set you so. You was upon the Kodesh mountain of Elohim.
He was on what?
The Kodesh mountain of Elohim.
So he was on the Kodesh mountain of Elohim. So Yah dwells in a mountain. So after the righteous Noah went up, he was into a mountain. Righteous Lot escaped this and he went into a mountain. If we are righteous enough, where do you think we going?
To the mountaintop.
To a mountain, right? Let's see. Thessalonians chapter 4. Verse 15.
See what you did there, buddy. For this we say unto you by the word of Yahuwah, alive and remain unto the coming of Yahuwah, which are asleep. For you shall descend from Shamayim with the voice of the archangel, and with the trump of Elohim, and the dead in Mashiach shall rise first.
So do what?
Shall rise first.
Shall rise first. And you gotta go into a mountain, you gotta rise, right? Read.
Then we which are alive and remain shall be caught up together with them in the Yahuwah in the air, and so that we shall ever be with Yahuwah. Wherefore comfort one another with these words.
You good right there. Revelation in verse 2.
Revelation chapter 15 at verse 2. And I saw as it were a sea of glass mingled with fire, and them that had gotten the victory over the beast, and over his image, and over his mark, and over the number of his name, stand on the sea of glass.
Do what?
Stand on the sea of glass.
Where's the sea of glass at? It's called the firmament. Exactly. You'll be standing on top of it now. Instead of being under it, you'll be on top of it and in the presence of him. Read.
Having the harps of Elohim, and they sing the song of Moshe, the servant of Elohim, and the song of the Lamb, saying, great and marvelous are your works. Yahuwah, are just and true are your ways, you King of saints.
All right, so we good right there. We see that if you're actually righteous enough, you'll get to make it and stand before him in his mountain. See, both of them ended up in the mountains. All right, same similarities going on. So we got in Noah's time, the people drowned, and in a lot of people burned up, right? Everything that was there had to die. The righteous was from the wicked. Now let's go back a little further to the story. Genesis chapter 9, verse 21.
Bereshit chapter 9 at verse 21.
But so now you would think that if you just saw everybody that you've known in your lifetime die a terrible death, the line you would think somebody would go and do is sin, right? Same thing with Lot. You just saw all your people, your friends, and everybody that you know that they just burned to death. Noah know all of his people just drowned, and Lot know all of his people just burned to death, right? So you would think the last thing in anybody's mind that just came through this would be the thought of sinning, right? Let's see. Let's go right after the flood. Genesis 9 and 21.
Genesis 9 and 21. And he drank of the wine.
Pick it up at verse 20, my bad.
Verse 20. And Noah began to be a husbandman, and he planted a vineyard, and he drank of the wine.
He did what?
And he drank of the wine.
He drank of the wine. I told y'all to keep the wine in mind. Drank of the wine. Read.
And was drunken, and he was uncovered within his tent.
He was uncovered in his tent. Read.
And Ham, the father of Canaan, saw the nakedness of his father.
He did what?
Saw the nakedness of his father.
He saw the nakedness of his father. Read.
And told his two brethren without. And Shem and Japheth took a garment and laid it upon both their shoulders and went backwards.
They did what?
And went backwards.
So what did they tell Lot's wife not to do? Not to look back. Notice Shem and Japheth, they don't look back. Right? Read.
And covered the nakedness of their father, and their faces were backwards.
See, they didn't look. Oh,
Not their father's nakedness.
so they didn't see it. Just like she wasn't supposed to look back. Right? So we see these similarities, but it says, and Ham, the father of Canaan, saw the nakedness of his father and told his two brethren. Let's try to figure out what this means. Leviticus 18 and verse 8. Let's try to see what this means. Leviticus 18 and verse 8.
Leviticus chapter 18 and verse 8. The nakedness
of what?
Of your father's wife.
The nakedness of your father's wife. Read.
Shall you not uncover?
Shall you not uncover? It says that Noah became uncovered. Read.
It is your father's nakedness.
So if he see his wife, that's the father, right? So according to this, he did what? Sound unthinkable, right? Let's see. Read that verse again.
The nakedness of your father's wife shall you not uncover. It is your father's nakedness.
It is your father's nakedness. Genesis chapter 35, verse 22. Let's see something.
Bereshit, or Genesis chapter 35 at verse 22. And it came to pass, when Israel dwelt in that land, that Reuben went and lay with Bilhah, his father's concubine.
He did what?
Lay with Bilhah, his father's concubine.
So this ain't directly his mama, but it's like his stepmama or something, right? He went and did what?
Lay with his father's concubine.
Not supposed to do that. That's sick. So we see that he became uncovered. Leviticus chapter 20 and verse 17. So the King James is trying to word this and make it nice so it's readable. Leviticus chapter 20, verse 17.
Leviticus chapter 20 at verse 17. And if a man shall take his sister, his father's daughter, or his mother's daughter, and see her nakedness, and shall see his nakedness, it is a wicked thing.
It is what?
A wicked thing.
It is a wicked thing. Read.
And they shall be cut off in the sight of their people.
They shall be what?
They shall be cut off in the sight of their people.
So they're going to be cut off in the sight of their people. So it's still this talking about this nakedness and this uncovering. Let's see what the sin of the Canaanites are. In fact, go back to Genesis chapter 9 and pick it up. Pick it up at verse 18.
Genesis chapter 9 at verse 18. And the sons of Noah that went forth of the ark was Shem and Ham and Japheth. And Ham is the father of Canaan.
He the father of who?
Canaan.
So out of the blue, Canaan just pops up on the scene. Because it was only, he wasn't supposed to be there. But Canaan pops up on the scene right here, right? And it says Ham is the father of Canaan. So let's see the sin of the Canaanites. Leviticus 18 and 1.
And Yahuwah, oh my bad though.
Leviticus 18 and 1.
Leviticus chapter 18 and verse 1. And Yahuwah spake unto Moses, saying, speak unto the children of Israel,
to the priest,
to the children of
to
Israel,
the kings.
to the children of Israel,
This is to everybody. Read.
and say unto them, I am Yahuwah your Elohim. After the doings of the land of Egypt, wherein you dwelt, shall you not do. And after the doings of the land of Canaan,
Of the who?
of the land of Canaan,
Of the land of Canaan. He says, these things are of the doings of the land of Egypt, which you dwelt in, shall ye not do. And after the doings of the land of Canaan, the Canaanites. Read.
whither I shall bring you, shall you not do, neither shall you walk in their ordinances.
Jump down to verse 6.
Verse 6.
Let's see what they do.
None of you shall approach to any that is near the kin of him to uncover their nakedness. I am Yahuwah.
So it's showing us through the precepts that they sinned, that he went into his mama. Now, if somebody can come with something and show me something, not dogmatic with it, show me something else, cool. But from what we can see, it looked like he did something with his own mama, right? Read.
The nakedness of your father or the nakedness of your mother shall you not uncover. She is your mother. You shall not uncover her nakedness.
Read.
The nakedness of your father's wife shall you not uncover. It is your father's nakedness. The nakedness of your sister, the daughter of your father, or the daughter of your mother, whether she be born at home or born abroad, even their nakedness shall you not uncover.
So it's showing us that these Canaanites and these Egyptians, this was the very sins that they was committing. They was committing incest, right? Showing us directly that this is what was going on. Let's parallel Genesis 19 and verse 30. Genesis 19 and verse 30. Remember Revelations talked about that wine, right? And Noah just got what? Drunk, right? Read.
Genesis chapter 19, verse 30. And Lot went up out of Zoar and dwelt in the mountain, and his 2 daughters with him, for he feared to dwell in Zoar, and he dwelt in a cave, he and his 2 daughters. And the firstborn said unto the younger, Our father is old. There's not a man in the earth to come unto us after this manner of all the earth. Come, let us make our father drink wine, and we will lie with him, that we may preserve seed of our father.
This is incest, right? Same thing, right? Both of these stories is parallel in showing that this same sick garbage was going on. Right after you made it through, they turn right back around and get even worse. Read.
And they made their father drink wine that night. And the firstborn went in and lay with her father. And he perceived not when she lay down.
Now the difference is, Noah, when he woke up out of his stupor, he knew he found him. Wait a minute. Boy, what is, you know what I'm saying? He knew. Lot don't know. Read.
Nor when she arose. And it came to pass on the morrow that the firstborn said unto the younger.
So again, you got to think about it. Get in Lot's mind frame. When tragedy happened to most people, what do they normally do?
Right.
Go out and drink, right? This is why you shouldn't do that. This is showing you why you shouldn't do that. Right? That's why they, what's that? The funny man, what's his name? Had the song, blame it on the Jamie Foxx, right? So you go out and do something, and then you can say, oh man, I was tore up, man, I was drunk. No, you knew what you was doing. You set it up, right? Everybody want to try to blame it and say, man, boy, I'm about to go. You already know, right? That's why he's showing you not to do this. Because it's a whole bunch of times, I'm gonna speak for myself. I done woke up and I don't know how I was somewhere, right? How am I on 96 mile?
Hey, did you think that you can control your liquor?
How am I on 96 mile road? I don't remember coming here. How did I get here? Right? Straight up. This is why he's showing you don't do this.
Drink your problems away.
Exactly.
Fall into some more.
Because they're going to come right back. They still there. Read.
And it came to pass on the morrow that the firstborn said unto the younger, Behold, I lay yesternight with my father. Let us make him drink wine this night also.
So he's still messed up, thinking about his people. Whole nine. Hey, I'm going to just get drunk. Plus, it's even worse on him because his wife actually just died as well. So imagine walking. Think that y'all done escaped it, right? Remember I told y'all to hold on to that. You right there at the finish line. Lot's wife was right there at the finish line and got her candle took. And imagine you walking with your wife and all of a sudden she get hard-headed and turn around and you want to look back so bad. Oh, but you know if you look back,
You done.
the same thing gonna happen to you, right?
It's too serious.
So again, try to put yourself in a mind frame, right? Deep. So everybody, man, he shouldn't have been getting up in there drinking and doing. Try to put yourself in his shoes. Stuff is deep, but he still shouldn't have been drinking. This is showing you exactly you shouldn't do this because you don't. Things gonna happen to you and you won't know.
And they made their father drink wine that night also. They were with him, and he perceived not when she lay, nor when she arose. Thus were both the daughters of Lot with child by their
Child by their own father. The worst. The worst stuff right here that you can even imagine. But again, they just came from great destruction. And again, you would think the last is to turn around and go back and engage in some sort of a sin. Well, remember, he said that we was going to go to the mountain. Some people was going to stand before the Most High. Let's go over there. Revelation chapter 20. Verse 1.
Revelation chapter 20 at verse 1. And I saw Malachim come down from Shamaim, having the key of the bottomless pit and a great chain in his hand. And he laid hold on the dragon, that old serpent, which is the devil and Shaitan.
So lock this dude away, shut him up. You won't have no excuse to say that somebody influenced you. Read.
And bound him 1,000 years, and cast him into the bottomless pit, and shut him up.
He did what?
And shut him up.
The door is closed on him right there. Read.
And set a seal upon him, that he should deceive the nations no more.
So he can't deceive you no more. Whatever it is that you do, it's on you. Jump down to verse 6.
Verse 6. Increased in Kodesh is he that hath part in the first resurrection. On such the second death hath no power. But they shall be priests and of Mashiach, and shall reign with him 1,000 years. And when 1,000 years are expired, Shaitan shall be loosed from his prison, and shall go out to deceive the nations which are in the four quarters of the earth.
So again, You would think that all of this destruction that you seen and you witnessed, and if you was a part of this 1,000, that it ain't no way that you would go back and do nothing else, right? But he's showing you right here, even after this, people gonna still go back and do it over again. The same thing he already showed us in the beginning that they was gonna do it. Right here, they doing it again. Read verse 7 again.
And when the third shall be loosed out of his prison, and shall go out to deceive the nations which are in the four quarters of the earth.
So if you fall for it, this is what you get.
God, to gather them together to battle, the number of whom as the sand of the sea. And they went out of the earth, and compassed the camp of the saints about the city. First came down from Elohim out of Shamaim, and devoured them.
Did what?
And devoured them.
And devoured them.
The devil that deceived them was cast into the lake of fire.
To the what?
To the lake of fire.
What Sodom and Gomorrah got? Lake of fire. Read.
And brimstone, where the beast and the false prophet are, and shall be tormented day and night forever and ever.
Forever and ever. So we see that these stories are showing the same parallel of what's going to be taking place in the end. Earth is filled with violence. Every imagination that you can think of going to be popping off. All the worst thing that you thought you could never see going to be taking place, but it's going to be combined. Right? So this story with Sodom and Gomorrah is showing us this. Go back. So we got 4 types of people in this equation, right? 4 types of people. Which one of these you are? Keep it in mind. 4 types of people. Genesis chapter 13 and verse 12.
Bereshit chapter 13 and verse 12. Abram dwelled in the land of Canaan, and Lot dwelled in the cities of the.
You see, Abraham is here, right? Abraham didn't live in the city. He didn't live amongst the hustle and the bustle, right? But Lot lived in the city. So Abraham represents, since he was called out of Earth, Abraham was pretty much faithful the whole time. So Abraham represents that person that is not a part of the madness. He it's because it's some of our people that grew up in this understanding. They wasn't never a part of this madness. Abraham represents this person. Read.
Abraham dwelled and Lot dwelled in the cities of the plain.
So we got Lot. Lot actually lived amongst the madness, right? But when Lot, he left, right? He left. Lot's wife, type. She actually left the city, right? She looked back, but the city didn't leave her because she still was looking back.
Take the hood out the girl.
Right? So she still was looking at what she left. And then you got the 4th type of person, which is that lives in the madness, ain't gonna stop doing the madness. You got to die some type of way. Everybody, right? Vast majority of everybody. Same thing with the flood. When them escape, I know, like he was saying, like, you know, dang, I know he gonna get it. I open that gate up, the door. Nope, it's too late. So we got Abraham, who was never a part of the madness. Lot, who was a part of it. His wife was the 3rd type. She was a part of it, left it, and wanted to go back. And the people, right? Who again don't want to get it purposely, then you got to die some type of way. I'm gonna eat my pork. I'm gonna do this. You know what I'm saying? Know that they doing wrong, and they represent the vast majority of the world that's gonna all be consumed in the destruction. So you need to determine which one of these four people you are. Now, we know we can't be Abraham because we wasn't born into this, right? But we can be Lot, right? We in the mess, we leave out of it, we don't go back. Or you can be Lot's wife and play hopscotch with it, or double dutch with it, and you jumping in and out. Oh, right? That's what a lot of people doing, playing the double dutch with it, in it for a minute, and then they jump right back out. Or we can be like the vast majority.
Say screw it all.
Yep, I'm living my life. I'm doing what I'm doing. You know what I'm saying? I don't believe in none of that stuff. So with that, you say, Shelly, your soul.
Your soul.
Any
Questions?
questions?
Comments, concerns? Guess it was that thorough.
Was that clear?
Yeah.
I can add something, man.